Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Given the opportunity to address this session, I thought about what will be of interest for you. And I think that looking at the menu of the presentations today, we have an emerging company that is born in the digital era, Local Motors. We see an institution that is a government institution. Therefore, I want to take the side of a company that's been in business for more than 100 years. And how can those companies that are established companies and that have been in business for more than a century adapt themselves in this era of a revolution? And you hear the theme, Industry 4.0. You hear that a lot, and we say that it's an industrial revolution. It is indeed, because this is made of the convergence of different technologies. And I want to put the context, everything in context, so that we can have a very healthy discussion. Now, if you look at a mountain and you are at the bottom of the mountain, you don't appreciate how tall it is, how big it is. But as you start going away from the mountain and you see the whole shape, that's where you realize how big, how mighty it is. And that is what is happening now. 100 years from now, we will look back and say, oh, that was something. And the idea I want to give you through this, I took the whole product value chain and I broke through only through elements in the design side, the manufacturing side, and then the service, maintenance and service. So we talk about the industry of the future. We talk about advanced manufacturing, but there's no manufacturing without design. And the manufacturing decisions are already made during the design time. If we wait till we want the industrial engineers to make those decisions, it costs too much. And mistakes that are made downstream cost too much. Therefore, I picked these four areas to illustrate what's happening. Industry, Internet of Things, with all the connectivity, with all the possibility to have everything that talks to everything, one-on-one, one-to-many, many-to-many. That in itself is changing the way we should be looking at business into the near future. Then new materials, then new processes. We talk about additive manufacturing. I will give you two examples of how things can change, and the companies need to be nimble and to adapt. And it starts from leadership changing in the mind. If we take, for example, additive manufacturing, today we have imports and exports, and we have fees that are on import and export. Tomorrow, somebody can be here in the US and print a part in Japan. How do you fix that? How do you attack import and export fees? How do you do import and export control? How do we do that? So companies need to think twice, need to think and understand. And what David said, which is very important, is to understand where the technologies are applicable, are the most applicable and beneficial. And one thing that I will point your attention on before we have the Q&A session is that the value proposition, the objective function at the end is to improve people's lives, to improve people's conditions. So any company that forgets it disappears over time, because if we don't improve people's lives, there's no need to have a word of customers, and the word of customers generate the word of suppliers. And we need to be cognizant of that and to keep the attention, the focus always on improving people's lives, therefore creating people who, customers who are willing to acquire the value that we generate. So this gives you just an idea of technologies changing rapidly our world. 100 years from now, we'll realize how big this moment in history, this magical moment really is. But companies like mine that operate in two big segments, Ingersoll ran in the climate segment through commercial HVAC, residential HVAC, and transport HVAC under the brand of Trane, Thermo King, and American standards. And then in the industrial sector, under the brand of Ingersoll Rand, Club Car, and Aero, and so on, we have 5 distinct businesses in the industrial. Companies like ours are well aware that we need to be very adaptive. We need to selectively adapt the technologies as they serve our customers. The focus, after all, is about serving the customers and putting money in their pockets. I will stop there, and then we can continue the discussion. Thank you.